Good evening to our friends here in Tallahassee and all across North Florida and Southern Georgia. Welcome to your October 12th edition of FSU Weather. I'm meteorologist Jay Karstens.
I'm student meteorologist Matt Reagan. Did you say October 12th?
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it if you stepped outside today. We've been kind of giving you the same story all week with what's been going on across town. But another day here where we had the record high minimum temperature, waking up to summer-like mornings out here for sure.
But I will say, and I told Brooke this on the way, our technical director today, on the way in, that it had a chill in the air this morning. The dew points are a little bit lower than normal. Well, at least lower than what they have been.
Yeah, if we're speaking relatively, at least, a dew point of 73 feels like an absolute relief when that's something you'd come to expect around here in the early part of July. However, relief is on the way. We're going to have a little bit more on that later on, as well as everything going on in the tropics, which actually isn't too much, thankfully.
Yeah, we just have one little system we're looking at, and that is moving out to see parts of Europe and Ireland, if you can believe that. Need to watch out for that one, but we'll break that down later.
Yeah, for now, we're going to go a little bit local here. Start things off with Michael, who's out at the wall with a quick overview of tonight's show.
Thanks, guys. So today in Tallahassee, it was 90 degrees, and our low was 73. Now, these numbers are more typical of what we experienced in July and August in Tallahassee, let alone October. And you can see that 90 was pretty close to our record of 93. But look at that low compared to our average of 59 degrees. It's really warm for this time of year. Current conditions in Tallahassee, we're at 89 degrees, and our dew point's at 73. Now, this is a little bit lower compared to what we were earlier in the week. And we're having an east wind of 8 miles per hour, which is a little different compared to the south earlier this week. Satellite and radar is pretty clear compared to yesterday. Yesterday we had a lot of storms in our region, but some of those storms are due to this stalled out front we're going to talk about later. And our 3-day forecast is showing we're going to continue with this hot weather. And our headlines are, we are going to have a hot weekend. It is going to feel like July, and a front is going to come to our area next week, giving us some cooler weather. We're going to send it back to the desk with Jake and Matt.
Thank you very much, Michael. It is that time of week, and we have it right here. This is our jar of states.
Yep, so this week we're going to be doing our forecast for some various cities around Wisconsin. We did for Maryland last week. So in the tradition of newly found tradition of here Thursday picking what state to do, well, we're going to shake this thing up. We're going to see what we got.
I'm hoping it's like maybe Oregon or something on the West Coast. So
I'm an Illinois guy. I want to forecast for my hometown of Chicago. Let's see. North Dakota.
Hey.
Kate Nagel. We got one of our alum out there in Minot forecasting. She's chief meteorologist actually up there. So it's going to be really fun forecasting in the Northern Plains, somewhere where the weather is very rather variable year-round.
Yeah, so we'll be excited to share that forecast with you next time. And for now, we're going to send it on out to you for a local look at our forecast.
All right, sounds good, Matt. Here we go with the local forecast. Tallahassee, we've been already outlining it today. Very warm day, 89 degrees currently, partly cloudy skies, dew point at 73, which is lowering ever so slightly from what we saw earlier on this week. The big reason, that easterly wind now at 8 miles per hour, as Michael alluded to a little bit earlier, talking about this difference between east and south. That Gulf of Mexico always being a little bit of a trickster when it comes to our moisture around here. Here's the temperatures, still very warm, 90 degrees in Thomasville as well as Quincy and over in Wilma. The lowest you see anywhere is 82 in Bainbridge, nothing more than just some scattered cloud cover in some areas. So not really too much of a crazy temperature variation out there, with no rainfall to really map it out for you. The dew points, you're starting to see a bit of a lowering trend, especially to our north and east, reflecting that wind shift that we've been talking about just a little bit here. 69 degrees in Valdosta, 70 in Thomasville, but still really, really high up there in Carabel and Apalachicola. Muggy at 76 degrees, 79 even in Bainbridge. Some spots still trying to crack 80, which you don't really see too much except for, say, July and August. Here's the winds, variable really across the region. Still out of the south when you're closer to the coast. 6 miles per hour in St. Marks, 4 Carabel, 7 Apalachicola, helping to moderate those temperatures just a little bit, bringing in more of that moisture. We go up to the north and you see that shift out of the east. 6 miles per hour in Valdosta, 5 in Thomasville. That's what we're really keeping our eye on, at least in the next couple of days before this cold front makes its way in and really changes things weather-wise around here. Let's talk satellite and radar. Not really too much going on, just some scattered clouds and a little bit of showers popping up in our extreme northern parts of our viewing area, so up towards Bainbridge, Cairo, Thomasville. Otherwise, pretty dry, much better than we had here yesterday when we got soaked right around showtime across, really across the city, across the entire Big Bend region. For the evening planner tonight, we're looking at 83 degrees right around sunset here. Still feeling kind of gross out there, but later on, cooling down just a little bit. That humidity still hanging around, though temperatures will be dropping into the middle 70s here, 76 degrees as we get to midnight and lowering just a little bit more into the overnight hours to about 73, 74 or so. Friday's outlook, 91 degrees is going to be your high, so another very, very warm afternoon. Feeling like the summer out there. Winds very similar to today, east at 5 to 10 miles per hour, so another sunny, hot one. Not expecting anything really in terms of rainfall around here. Let's look at the water vapor and show you what is on the way here. So we see this big high pressure going to be settling in. The stalled out front is what's really helping to keep the moisture around here for now. This is what we're going to be watching for the big change. Currently a low over the Rockies, the cold front draping down from that, moving to the southeast over the next 4 to 5 days or so. And you're going to see that in the 5-day forecast. Here we go. The cold front Monday with our highest rain chances at 50%. Mostly cloudy skies, scattered showers and storms. But the cold front passes through Monday night, and look at that, 77 degrees for the Tuesday high, about the coolest we've had since the post-Irma era around here. So, you know, I'm looking forward to it. Michael, let's talk about the southeast. Actually, going to hand it over to Matt instead.
Yeah, well, that's okay. We can all talk about the southeast because that's where the big front is going to be showing its all of its teeth. Maybe not be making it all the way down to here and making it that cold. However, we'll just have to take a look at the forecast here in just a second. Current temperatures, though, across the southeast is fairly warm, fairly pretty much 80 degrees everywhere you look. It's in the 80s. As you move further north, we've got this whole now, and we're all.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty out at the wall. So what I'm going to do is kind of talk a little bit about this weather system that's going to be impacting a lot of the southeast, as Matt was going to be touching up on it just a little bit. We'll try to get back out to him in about a minute or so. But here is the forecast, what we're looking at right now. What you have shaded here is the 500 millibar height. And what this kind of corresponds to is, say, the average temperature over this layer from the surface up to about the middle levels of the atmosphere. So where you see these blues, some of these cooler colors, that's where you're expecting to see some of these cooler temperatures. And I'm actually going to allude to something in this that corresponds to maybe the site of some winter weather up in the northeast, at the very least with some freezing temperatures. So let's get this forecast going here. We start right about what we're at right now. You see this low draped over the northeast. That's what we're going to be looking at about 3 to 4 days from now. We get this in motion here, and you're going to start to see the cold front draping across into the south and passing the Tallahassee area on Monday night, contributing to a much, much cooler Tuesday for us. With, again, those highs expected to be in the upper 70s. It's not really getting this to work right now. Here we go. So we get this going. Actually, it's not quite working here yet, but this is what we're going to be watching. You see these light and dark blue colors. These are going to be dropping into the northeast, and what that corresponds to is the 540 line, as we call it, which is these temperatures that are cool enough to support wintry precipitation. Considering you're going to have a high pressure building in right behind us, we're not expecting any kind of snowfall in the northeast, but you're going to see in our national forecast later on that we do have some frost, even some freeze warnings in parts of New England, say New Hampshire, Vermont, and upstate New York. So that's all I had for you from the lab here. We are going to send it back out to Michael with a look at the tropics.
Well, I'm still here, and I still want to get through the southeast because I got some cool stuff to tell you about the southeast. Thank you for that information, Jake. Let's see if we can roll on through this one. Right now, really, the winds. We saw where that stationary front was, and you can actually kind of pick it up here on satellite and radar. Where these storms are initializing is exactly where the stalled frontal boundary is sitting right now, and that's really not going anywhere anytime soon until we get that next kick of energy to come through and move that on through the region. Now, watches and warnings, there's not much of them to
I'm talking about the local southeast, and what we have right now, we have that stalled out front, as Matt was saying, currently over South Georgia, and that stalled out front is going to stay there over the weekend. And what's going to happen is we have that cold front all the way in the west near Montana. That's going to come by our region on Tuesday and finally give us that cooler fall weather that we finally deserve, honestly, in South Georgia and North Florida. And
I've got a good working mic.
okay, so Okay, so now we're going to talk about the tropics, and let me bring it to the wall right here. So currently we have Ophelia in the North Atlantic, and Ophelia is currently a Category 1 hurricane. It is the 10th hurricane, 10 consecutive hurricane in the Atlantic this season. Now, a lot of people say, like, okay, Lee regenerated and was a hurricane in its second life form, but according to the statistics, Ophelia is our 10th hurricane on record. Hurricane climatology. Now, Ophelia doesn't really follow the climatology of October. Ophelia is all the way up here, close to the Azores, which is just south of Spain. Now, most of these hurricanes in October start in the Caribbean and they go up the Atlantic and out towards sea. That's exactly what Nate did earlier this month. And here's Ophelia. It's a Category 1 hurricane. You can see that eye really defined well, so it's really organized right now. It's compared to the other hurricanes we've had this season, it's pretty small, but it is a really healthy hurricane out in the North Atlantic. And you can see with this projected path, currently it's like right in the North Atlantic region, but you can see the Azores right here. The eastern Azores are going to get some tropical storm force winds starting tomorrow. And then what it's going to do, it's going to come close to Spain, and not many hurricanes or tropical storms have come within 200 miles of Spain. And then it's going to become extratropical and become a pretty interesting and have a lot of wind for Ireland and for the UK. And finally, we're going to show you this tropical cyclone activity. So currently we are in the middle of October. We're beginning to have a decline in our hurricane activity. But hurricane season ends on November 30th. We want you to stay aware of what's going on in the tropics until November 30th, because it's important to have a hurricane plan and to be prepared. So what we're going to do right now, we are going to send it to Jake with a look at
National.
Yep, national.
Let's do that. All right, so here we are with our current conditions across the country. You see a very warm southern third, as we are accustomed to seeing here. 88 over in Dallas, 85 in San Antonio. They did have a nice little cold front come through. This actually the front that stalled out over our area immediately really brings some cooler temperatures into parts of Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle. Even seeing some 30s overnight, which is really cool. You start to see that in the Midwest here, some of these cooler temps, 50s and 60s like in Detroit. Here's our national weather picture, a pretty strong high-pressure system currently over the Missouri Valley here, so this very calm weather really across the center. And over to the south, you see these warmer temperatures. Up north where that front had passed, really beginning to cool off a little bit. And here's what we're looking at once again. Our low over the Rockies right now, this front draped across, that's going to be pushing its way to the east, as we've outlined a couple of times. Let's look at the weather around the country as we segue our way into our Wisconsin forecast here. Starting off with some rain and even some snow activity up in the Cascade Mountains in Oregon, Washington, even pushing into parts of Montana as well. Starting to see some of that wintry precipitation working its way back into the picture. Let's go around the world here, and we end up in Wisconsin, our weekly forecasting state here. Not really too much going on right now in terms of our satellite and radar picture. It's just some scattered clouds moving just south of Green Bay over Lake Michigan now into the lower peninsula of Michigan. Here's the current temps. You see 57 in Green Bay, 55 in Milwaukee, 56 in Sheboygan right along Lake Michigan. A little bit warmer off to the west in La Crosse at 61 degrees, currently the only spot in the state above 60, 53 in Wausau. Here's the dew points. Actually, with the southeasterly wind, you would expect these higher dew points along the lake, but Milwaukee's actually our low spot with a dew point of 48 degrees. Madison at 55, Eau Claire at 51. Even the northwestern part of the state still feeling just a little bit of that surface humidity with those dew points in the 50s. Winds mostly out of the southeast as they're on the northern side of that high pressure that's over that's centered over Missouri right now. So again, wind off the lake on the coastal areas. That's why you see some of these more moderated temperatures and some of these higher dew points, even though Lake Michigan doesn't have quite as much of an impact on the weather as, say, the Gulf of Mexico does for us here. So let's talk about some of the cities around Wisconsin. Milwaukee, Friday, we're looking at a high of 66 degrees, 30% chance of rain. Cold front, that's going to be affecting us in Tallahassee. That approaches Saturday through Saturday night, so we're going to see a 100% chance of rain. Some could be pretty strong here before things cool down and clear up just a little bit on Sunday. For Madison, same kind of deal. Saturday, 100% chance of rain overnight, 90% during the day here. 66 degrees what we're expecting during the day. 57 going to be your high on Sunday under partly cloudy skies. And we're going to look for Green Bay as well here. So you see Friday, 30% chance of rain, 65 degrees. Saturday at 63 with an 80% chance of rain. Again, that cold front really making its presence felt through the entirety of the night. So now we're going to take it back over to the desk.
Thank you, Jake. Now, Michael, we've been talking about these fires in California for quite a while now. We've seen some pretty devastating pictures about them, too.
Yeah, and what happened is these fires exploded in Northern California on Sunday. And as we explained to you earlier to the week, they actually had a golf tournament in Napa Valley, and they had to evacuate the resort 12 hours after the tournament ended.
Yeah, we've seen, here's our fire map. We have 22 fires burning right now, at least 170,000 acres. And we're expecting those to burn even more. 3,500 homes burnt, and at least 21 people have died, with more missing.
Yeah, and what has been fueling these fires? We've been having offshore winds for most of this week, and those offshore winds, especially with the vegetation, it's been pretty dry, and they're in their dry season, and during the winter, they did have a really wet winter, and when you get a lot of moisture and the vegetation is really intense, you can get a lot of fuel for these fires.
Yeah, it's just a tinderbox out there with all of that dry, like you were saying, a lot of very dry environments after the vegetation has grown up. Now, we'll be watching those closely here, but for now, we're going to be sending it out to Dylan for a look at our trivia question for the week.
Yeah, thank you, Matt and Michael. We have our weekly trivia question this week. You can find the trivia question at our Twitter at twitter.com/FSU Weather. You can follow us there, and every Thursday we will have your trivia question. The answer will be given on the Friday show. But our trivia question for this week is the highest record temperature in Tallahassee for the month of October was recorded at 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Which years did this occur? So our four options are 1987, 1998 for answer A. For answer B, you have 1974 and 1992. For C, you have 2009 and 2016. And in D, you have 1933 and 1941 are our options for the trivia poll on Twitter. So be sure to go check out that and follow us and answer those questions there. See how lucky you are to guessing these dates and years. But right now, we're going to send it over to the wall with Michael for a sports and outdoors look.
Thanks, Dylan. So right now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some of the sporting events in terms of Florida State around the country and the weather. So for tomorrow, we have cross country up in Wisconsin, and as Jake pointed out earlier, weather's going to be pretty good for that. There is a 60% chance of rain, 65 degrees, but this is pretty cool compared to what we're dealing right here. Now, FSU football is playing against Duke on Saturday. Pretty good forecast for that game, 76 degrees, a north wind of 5 miles per hour. Perfect day for any tailgating if you're heading up for the game. FSU basketball is having their Jam with Ham tomorrow, 83 degrees. It is indoor at Tully, but it's a perfect day if you're planning on going to that event tomorrow. East-northeast winds of 5-10 miles per hour, but it is going to be hot, so you might want to get some water to stay hydrated. And FSU baseball is having their Garnet and Gold game on Friday at 6 p.m. 85 degrees, east-northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. But as I said again, you want to bring some water so you can be hydrated for that game. And FSU women's golf is in Stanford for the intercollegiate. Perfect conditions in California at Pebble Beach, one of the best golf courses in the world. 70 degrees on Monday, 68 on Tuesday, and 67 on Wednesday. Perfect conditions out there in the West. And now FSU women's soccer is in Winston-Salem against Wake Forest. 75 degrees, east winds of 5 miles per hour. And it's going to be a great game for those going to the game. Volleyball is at Duke, 80 degrees, southwest wind of 5 miles per hour. Another good game, and it will be perfect for that game as well. And anyone into NFL, Thursday Night Football's on tonight, 8:25, Eagles against the Panthers, 73 degrees, comfortable night, perfect for anyone who's out tailgating. And for those golfers, including me, Jake, Matt, perfect in terms of weather, but kind of hot for tomorrow. We're going to give it a 4 out of 5 on the golf scale. And our 5-day forecast is showing, again, 91 degrees on Friday. That hot weather is continue into Monday, where a cold front is going to approach the region, as we've been saying all this show. And look at that temperature on Tuesday, 77. We finally deserve some fall weather here in Tallahassee. So we're going to give it off to Dylan.
Thank you very much, Michael. We're going to take it around Florida right now. We're going to see how Florida looks. I'm from Florida. I'm actually specifically from Miami. But down in Miami, they're seeing 83 degrees right now. It is actually cooler there than it is here in Tallahassee at 89 degrees. Same with Pensacola. It is 90 degrees here, the hot spot on this map. The cool spot, though, Fort Myers, they're seeing some showers right now. So that's going on. Satellite radar showing this eastern wind coming and blowing on some showers down in Miami. So we're seeing a lot of rain over there, and I've talked to folks that they saw some rain down there with the tropical wave last week. So things are just looking like a typical summer day for those down in South Florida. So Fort Myers really getting a lot of that rain, some heavy showers associated with them. You can see all this wind coming out of the east, and that's driving a lot of these offshore showers, which is really causing a lot of rain for them. You can see 15 miles per hour in West Palm Beach, but for us here, we're only seeing 8, seeing that same kind of eastern wind, which is really driving most of those showers. Pensacola pointing down at 5 miles per hour. Dew points, though, around the state, seeing really high dew points. 70s and 60s, sorry, are the most common dew points right now. That's making it feel very oppressive. While it might be cooler down in Miami, their dew point is 77 degrees, which means it's feeling a lot muggier and gross outside than it is here with us in Tallahassee at 73 degrees for our dew point. 3-day forecast for those in Pensacola, shout out to Brantley. Friday looking like a good day. Saturday as well with that sunshine, but that front starting to make its way through on Sunday. You're going to see a lot of that rain start to take an effect there. But for Jacksonville, they're going to see a lot of offshore showers. That's what's really causing these 20 and 30% chances of rain ahead of that front. Winds still coming out of the east, dominating most of those showers. For folks in Orlando, if you're going to Disney this weekend, you're going to see 50% chance of rain for Friday and Saturday, and only a 40% chance of rain ahead of that front. So nothing too bad. The front's going to dissipate, though. But in my hometown of Miami, tomorrow, again, those offshore showers are bringing 60% chances of rain for them, and 50 and 50 on Saturday and Sunday. So it's not looking like a good weekend for those folks down in Miami. For your tonight's forecast, you're going to see temperatures around the 60s as our morning lows. 69 in Pensacola, 69 in Tallahassee. The cool spot, though, Jacksonville at 66 degrees. Down in Miami, you're going to see high 70s, trying to crack those 80s over there. But for tomorrow, you're going to see sunshines in the top part of the state. Bottom part of the state, not looking like the sunshine state at all. You're going to see 88 degrees and a lot of showers situated around Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, and Miami. Those winds will still continue out of the east for them and will be the driving force behind most of those offshore showers. Right now, I'm going to hand it off to Matt with a look at the local.
Thank you, Dylan. Let's try looking at the local, too, this time and see if we can't get through those current conditions right now. 89 degrees, partly cloudy. We've been talking about it all show. Look at the humidity, 59%. That's starting to come down. This post-Hurricane Nate tropical moisture, I guess, conveyor belt that we've been seeing is finally starting to let up a little bit, and we're starting to see those winds kind of turn around a little bit east at 8 miles per hour. So 89, not feeling as bad out there as it used to, at least this time yesterday and the day before. Look at the radar. Not as much going on here either. Just a couple isolated showers up near Bainbridge, Marietta. That's kind of crossing down into the areas and counties just west of here into Panama City and Destin. Seeing some light sprinkles as well. That will continue throughout the evening until the sun starts to go down. Current temperatures, once again, we see the 89 degrees here in Tallahassee, 85 St. Mark's, Carabel 83, just a little bit cooler. So this is looking like a summertime temperature forecast, but I can assure you that we are seeing the dew point start to take a little bit of a dive, and that is what we should be seeing, at least to make it feel a little bit more chilly, at least the chill in the air that we were talking about earlier on in the show. But unfortunately, we have those we have the moisture in the air, so those two added together with the actual temperature, we're going to get something that feels a lot warmer out there. 98 is what it's feeling like right now if you walk outside or you have your evening commute here coming home from work. 96 in Quincy, 93, pretty much all these areas in the mid to upper 90s across the Big Bend region for that heat index. Dew point just adding to that moisture, adding to that feel in the air. However, like I said, that's starting to go down just a little bit, making it feel slightly drier outside than what we have been seeing. Now the winds, they've been primarily out of the east direction off the Atlantic waters, a little bit more northerly. You can actually see where the stationary front is set up here because you have those winds that are easterly here and the northerly winds here. So stationary front sitting right in between those two. But tonight's forecast, 69 degrees, is still quite above normal of what we should be seeing this time of year. Warm and humid, and a muggy night is what we have on tap for Thursday night here in Tallahassee and the capital city. But tomorrow, how's your Friday looking? Comfortable morning, chill in the air if you get out there early enough, and then that will unfortunately warm up rather quickly to 83 degrees. Sunny and hot is what we're seeing at 4 p.m., pretty much a carbon copy of what we're seeing today. And then we can look at the week ahead. We have the front we've been talking about. We might see the cool down just a little bit on Monday and into Tuesday, bringing the dew point, bringing the humidity values down just a little bit, making it feel a lot nicer out there. However, we still need to get through those warm and muggy days Saturday and Sunday and into Monday as well, with the rain chances on the increase. But behind the front, yeah, 80 degrees as a high, not too terrible. 63 is a low. Maybe even some areas outside of Tallahassee could dip into the 50s, which hopefully we will see here in our area sometime soon. At least that's what I personally think. Mike, Dylan, what do you think about that?
I'm really excited for these cooler temperatures. I mean, we are in October.
I know. Like, for all you fall lovers out there, you're like wondering, where's fall? It's going to finally come, I think, on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're going to see some pumpkin spice latte kind of temperatures out there. Feeling very nice. 77 degrees as a high is very comfortable.
Oh, yeah. Especially, we deserve it after all the heat and humidity we've gone through for the last few days.
Yeah, but things look like they start to pick back up on Thursday. We'll track that for you later on in the week, though.
Yep.
So, but it's looking like a good weekend out there. Nice to watch some football. Hope the Colts do well on Monday. Who's your favorite football team?
I'm not really into NFL right now, but more into, let's see what Florida State can do against Duke.
Yeah.
I feel like that could be an interesting game.
Definitely, for sure. We need them to do well. After last week's atrocity of a game, things are not looking good for us, but hopefully we'll bump back against Duke, though.
Yeah, any plans for the weekend, Dylan?
I'm actually making cookies on Sunday. I'm looking forward to making cookies. But hey, if you don't want to see me make cookies, then follow us on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
Yep, follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/FSU Weather. We'll probably get more into Instagram. And
we also have our Facebook, youtube.com/FSU Weather/live for our live broadcasts. But for the rest of us, I'm student meteorologist Dylan Leith.
And I'm student meteorologist Michael Anand.
Have a good night.